Okay, a very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us at the Yuan-Sang TCM Clinic Stress and Inactivity Due to Work from Home webinar. Today we have a very experienced physician Zhang Ruifen. She will be sharing with us more about how to use TCM to alleviate conditions arising from stress and inactivity due to working from home. So without further ado, let us welcome physician Ruifen.
Hello.
Ruifen. Hello, hi.
Can you see and hear me?
Yes, we can. Okay, so I will pass it on to you to start the webinar proper.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Stress and Inactivity webinar. So, a brief introduction of myself. I'm physician Zhang Ruifen, and I'm currently practicing at Yuan-Sang at Paragon and Harbourfront Center. So, today we are going to be sharing a little bit more about working from home and the related conditions to stress and also inactivity. So, a brief outline of what we'll be going through today. So, some conditions that may arise from working from home, and I'll be sharing about the causes of these conditions and how TCM can help us, and some self-help tips, and also some DIY recipes that you can take away from here. Okay, so a few common conditions that may arise from working from home this period of time. Lots of them are going to be pain related. So there are body aches and gastrointestinal problems, which means like stomach and the intestines related problem. There is fatigue. Insomnia is also a very common cause, and anxiety. So we'll be going through all these different conditions one by one, and sharing some methods of how TCM can alleviate these symptoms. So we'll start from body aches. Yeah, so what are the causes of body aches? Working from home may lead to some awkward work postures, and that is very, very common because we are tempted when we are working from home to work from the bed, or we sit on the couch. And when we do that, right, we end up sitting with a very bad posture, and that pulls and strains our muscle. So this muscle strain is very common, especially for the shoulder and the back region. So this is why for many, many patients we have seen recently, right, and there's an increased number of patients coming with neck and back problems. And a large percentage of this is really due to the prolonged period sitting at a computer as while they're working at home. Another common aches they have is due to prolonged periods of looking at the phone. So this period of time, since we're at home, we do spend a little bit more time checking out our phones, our tablets, and looking at it in this position, when we are tilting our head down, look on it, right, is actually increasing the effective weight of the human head. So it puts a very great strain on our neck. And as a result, we have a neck strain. And the last very common body aches we see is due to working from behind a computer for a long period of time. So when we put a lot of pressure, when we type for a long time, when we write for a long time, this leads to an increased strain in the wrist and the hand. And as a result, there is a lot of wrist and hand strain. Sometimes in the thumb area, we get pain around the wrist, around the thumb area, as well as some people develop carpal tunnel syndrome, which is actually inflammation here. And typically you will see pain or numbness in the fingers along the middle, in the thumb, the first finger, and the middle finger. So wrist, hand, neck, shoulder, lower back, these are the most common areas of body aches that may arise from working from home due to this sedentary position you're in, or just awkward posture in general. So what are some self-help tips that we can do to prevent or to alleviate it? One of it is just to be more conscious and to be aware of your body's positioning. So when we are sitting, we cannot avoid having to sit to work, right? So we just try to sit with a straight back, as you can see from this picture here. These are some of the common positions that people get into when they're sitting at the desk. This is actually pretty good already, considering you have a good desk setup and a good chair, which most people working from home don't even have. So what I can take away is at home, you try to set up a good working station that allows you to look at the screen at a eye level. I think most people may not have this good setup at home, so they may be stringing their leg and looking down because they have a lower table than is ideal, a lower desk than is ideal. So to help with that, you may want to prop up your laptop so that it's on eye level at least, and that will help a lot with your posture because then you'll be sitting straight and you won't be tilting your head down at an awkward angle. So we don't slump too much as well, and we don't lean in too much to the screen like this. That will strain the eyes, and that will give a lot of back strain and neck strain as well. Slouching back, right, is very bad for the back, lower back, a long period of time. There's no good support, no ergonomic good support. So the most ideal is really just to be sitting upright. It's good if you have a chair that keeps you in a good posture, but if not, you just have to make a conscious effort to sit in a good position and look at your screen at eye level. Okay, so that's for sitting. Another thing is every time after around an hour or so, get up, stand up, and do some stretching. Or if you have no time to stand up even, while seated, you can do some neck stretches like this lady here. So you just place your hand on this side and just do a light stretch. Pull your head to one side. And you just count to 10 counts. And then on the opposite side, 10 counts. And tip your head back, 10 counts, and forward. You can lightly link your link your fingers and press it down for 10 counts. So it's just to stretch out your neck muscles to prevent it from being stiffened in the position for a long time. Standing up will be good because then you'll stretch your lower back muscles as well and your shoulders. So lifting your arms up and then just stretching left to right. It may seem very simple, but it really helps a lot if you do it every hour or so to prevent stiffening. Even more ideal, go and take a short walk. This is good for general change, better mood. You get better air. So most ideally, you really leave the house for a while and take a short walk, or you can just walk around the house. That will help as well. Okay, so from a TCM perspective, how can TCM help with body aches? For more persistent aches and pains, right, that stretching doesn't alleviate, or more chronic conditions, that means it's been ongoing for months and it refuses to get better no matter what you do. There are TCM treatments such as acupuncture or cupping, and typically we prescribe herbal medications that can alleviate these symptoms. So to do this, you consult a TCM physician and they will diagnose you and prescribe a treatment plan accordingly. On your own end, some DIY remedies. This is a general advice for people who have aches and pains. You have to keep your muscles warm in general because when it's cold, right, the muscles will stiffen and tighten, so it leads to worse aches. So try to avoid wherever you're sitting, especially for a long period of time, avoid having a fan or aircon blowing directly on the body. So I think some people feel very warm. They like to have a circulation and they feel it's very good to have a fan blowing at them for a long period of time. But that's actually very, very bad for the muscles. Avoid having an aircon also like blowing from, let's say, the back, blowing directly on your neck, or from the side, blowing directly on your body, because cold just makes the muscle contract. What can you do then? You tilt the vents upwards so that it hits perhaps the walls and the cold air will rebound back. Same for the fan as well. Direct it at the walls so that the circulation will just bounce back and circulate around the room, but it's not directed at your own body. And then there's also heat treatment you can do. So like this lady here, she's using a form of hot pack, a hot water bag. I think there are various variations of this hot water bag or hot water pack. Some you just pour water. Some of them have some sort of beads in them that you can microwave to heat it up, or some are electrical. So you plug them to a power socket and charge it. So whichever method you use, heat is good for relaxing the muscle. So you can do that. Put a hot water bag or hot pack on the sore and achy muscles to warm it up and to loosen it. So there's also DIY acupoint massage. So acupoints are all over our bodies, so it may not be very easy to know where to massage them. I'm going to share just a few simple ones for general aches and pains that you all can take away. But for more specific one, when you consult a TCM physician, you can ask them for some guidance also on the best points for your own condition. So these two I'm sharing, right? It is good for neck and shoulder aches in general. So this is on the left, right, is this feng chi xue. This is the can you see these two red points? This is where the two acupoints are located. It's on either side. It's on either side of the neck. So how do we find it? The slide below, this lady, this is how you can massage it. You open your palm, so you're facing it out this way. Can follow. And then you place your thumb, just like the lady in the picture, at the back of your neck. It is, you will find along the base of your skull, right? There is a slight groove. So where is it? It is at the edge of the hairline. Can you see there's an angle of the hairline? So at this two right angles where there is a turn, where the hairline turns, you will find a slight groove as you press along. So you press, just like the lady in the picture, you press inwards and you should feel a slight achiness. Look for a groove. You shouldn't be pressing on a hard bone. It's below the bone. The bone is the base of the skull. So right under the base of the skull, you search for it and you press this way, inwards. So you can massage it for about 5 minutes or about 60 to 100 rotation. You can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do about 60 to 100 times. You just massage it. So this will help the circulation around your neck area and it extends to the head, side of the head as well. The next point we're looking at is 肩颈. You see on the right here. So it's located on the shoulder region. How do we find this point? So it is on our shoulder as well. Look at this is the midline of our spine, right in the middle of the spine. If you feel along the back of your neck, you'll feel a lot of bony protrusions, right? That's our spine. And then there is a biggest bump among all the bumps you feel. If you tilt your head down and you glide your fingers along the back of your neck, you will feel many bumps. And one of them is significantly bigger. Can you feel that? So the biggest bump will be around here. And it is right below the biggest bump. And then the tip of your shoulder, right? So you take a point. One point is between the biggest bump, right below the biggest bump, and the tip of your shoulder. The midpoint of it is where you find this acupoint. So your shoulder and the biggest bump on your neck, the midpoint below that, between that is 肩颈, and you can use your fingers to press down. If you can't measure it very well, it's okay. It's just a rough guide. So it's basically, right, located in between the middle of your neck and your shoulder, the midpoints on both sides. You press down, it is at the slope of the shoulder. For most people, there is a quite strong achiness feeling there. So similarly, how you massage it, you can use 2 fingers, press down on it, and you massage for 60 to 100 times as well. You should feel very achy. This is a good acupoint for promoting circulation throughout the whole body. So every 1 hour or 2 hours at the desk, you can massage 风池, 肩颈, do some stretches. Okay, So this is the acupressure points that you can take away. You can search them out if you want to learn more about them as well. The next one, let's move to gastrointestinal problems. So why do we get gastrointestinal problems when we are working from home? Here are some of the causes that are common. So when working from home, many of us slip into bad dietary habits. And why is that so? Because we're at home and there's easy access to the kitchen or refrigerator. So this typically leads to binge eating or excessive snacking. And these are often of very unhealthy or fattening food, processed food, I would say. So you eat a lot of biscuits, chocolates, even cereal, things that are really high in sugar typically. So that is one end of it. But on the other end, for some, right, for some people, the alternative occurs instead, and they have the opposite problem. So because there's no fixed lunch break, lots of people actually skip their meals or they forget their meals instead. They're so engrossed in working, so they work throughout their lunch hour, and then they realize, 3 o'clock, and I haven't eaten my lunch. But it's dinner time soon. Let's just forget about it and continue working until dinner time. So I believe that's a very, very common problem for many people now working from home. So this actually leads to long-term doing this, right, will actually lead to gastrointestinal problems such as you get reflux, heartburn, indigestion, like, because there's too much acid in your stomach when you skip meals. This, if you just do it once, maybe it won't affect you, but if you consistently do it over months, this will eventually develop to be a real problem. So remember not to skip meals and try to keep to a good schedule. So either way, skipping meals or binge eating, right, may lead to indigestion or excessive weight gain as well. So what can we do about it? Some of the self-help tips we can adhere to. We try to make a meal plan and stick to it. This will ensure that you have a good plan in mind of what you are planning to eat for breakfast, lunch, dinner, so you don't wait until the very last moment to try to order something or just make do and by eating something unhealthy. Do our best to stick to a meal plan. It can be something as simple as I'm going to eat noodles from the I'm going to eat noodles. What kind of noodles? Just a general guideline. Don't just leave it be and end up eating really snacks. Another thing is many people actually mistake dehydration for hunger. So when we're very thirsty, we may actually think that we are hungry, but that is just dehydration. So getting a full liter of water and drinking it throughout the day, constantly hydrating ourselves, will actually get rid of this problem and will avoid unhealthy snacking throughout the day. So remember to drink water. And from TCM perspective, right, warm water is much better than cold water. So it's just generally better for the digestive system and the circulation in the body. So try to drink more warm water throughout the day. How can TCM help? So if you have problems such as indigestion, constant flatulence, which is you feel very bloated, there's a lot of gas. It could be constant burping or you let out a lot of wind all the time. Or gastric reflux. Gastric reflux means 胃酸倒流. That means you feel like a burning sensation. That'll be heartburn, burning sensation coming up. You may feel like bitterness or sourness in your mouth. So that is a common symptom of gastric reflux already. Most people already get it treated at the doctor. But if that is still not enough, right, and it continue recurring unless you constantly take medicine, you may want to also consult with a TCM physician because there are some herbal medication that are suitable to generally improve your gastrointestinal system to deal with this problem. So acupuncture is also another course of action. Depending on your diagnosis and the situation, we may recommend acupuncture or we may just purely use herbal treatment. So what are some DIY remedies from TCM point of view? You avoid taking cold and raw food. Like I mentioned, cold is generally not good for the digestive system from a TCM point of view, of course. So we try to take more warm and cooked food. And there are also some herbs. This is 白术, Huaishan, 四神汤, 六味汤. These are some very common pre-packaged soups or food or herbs that are usually used to treat gastrointestinal problems. We use it to strengthen the spleen, which is the digestive system. So the picture I put here, right, The picture I put here, this is a picture of Liu Wei Tang and a sample of what a package formula looks like. Many TCM shops will sell them, so you can just get a pre-packaged one. It's quite easy to find and you can prepare it easily following the instructions. The picture here is Huaishan Yao. So Huaishan Yao comes in two forms. It comes in the raw form and it comes in the dried herbal form. This is the one you will find in actually MTUC. So you can use this, right, to cook. This is a fresh huaishan. You can use it to cook porridge. It's called Chinese yam as well. So you just peel off the skin and you cut it up into small cubes, put it into your rice to cook into a porridge. So this is suitable for children, adults. You can use it in soups as well, cook it in soup. Treat it like you would treat potato yam, similar to that. But the texture is a little bit sticky, so it depends on whether you're okay with it. You may not want to put too much, you will find it too sticky. Yeah. Okay, so I have some. Oh, okay. So what else can we do? When we talk about acupuncture, right, that has to be performed by a TCM physician, but you can do some acupressure massage for yourself. And these are two commonly used points for the gastrointestinal system. The first one is called 中脘穴. So it's located, how do you find it again? So it's always about finding the acupoint before you can massage it. 中脘穴 is this red dot here, you can see from the picture here, right in the middle. The midline of the body, it lies along the midline of the body. You take the first, you have to first locate it, right? So you point A, you look for the midline, and then in between the nipples, that is the middle of the chest, and then your belly button. So these are the 2 points, point A, point B. So in between point A and point B, that's where 中脘 is. So you can find it, and you can use, just like this picture here, right? This is another person massaging a patient's 中脘穴, but you can do the same for yourself. That means you can use a finger, use a middle finger with the thumb, with the index finger on top to give additional strength and to just massage the point on your stomach. So you can massage it this way, or you can also just use a thumb to massage it. Either way, it can be done sitting, it can be done lying down. Lying down will be more comfortable, of course. So similarly, 60 to 100 times. If you feel like you have indigestion, flatulence, right, bloatedness, you can try pressing these 2 points. So that's when you use them. The other point, 足三里, this is a very common and a very good point to learn where to locate because it's very useful and good for just general health. So how do we find 足三里? There are many ways, but the most practical way for a person to locate it, right, would be, it is at the knee area. So the general location is the knee. There is a bone here. Can you see this bone? It lies here, on the outer side of the large bone that's running down. So how do we find it? How far below the kneecap does it go? So this distance, right, from the kneecap, bottom of the kneecap to here, you take it as the width, the width of your closed fingers. 4 fingers, closed it up. 1, 2, 3, 4. This width, put it below your kneecap. So you put you may want to put this 4 finger, you join it and place it below your kneecap here. And the bottom of it, right, is where 足三里 will fall. How far do you go outside then? It is actually 1 finger's width away from the bone to the outside of the bone. So if you find the midline of the bone, you just it's really hard to show you. But the lady pressing here, we can see there's a good picture of where 足三里 roughly line. You can place your fingers here, 1, 2, 3, 4 fingers along this line, and then it's 1 finger width away from the bone. So that's this point here. And you press it with your thumb typically. It has a little bit more strength. So you locate it. Most people feel a slight achiness as well when you press it. There isn't an obvious like dent or groove. You will feel like you're pressing on muscle, but it's a little bit achy when you press on it. You can search along it until you find it, and then you massage your thumb for about 60, 100 times as well. You can do that every day. This is a good acupoint just to massage in general for general health, for boosting immunity system as well. Okay, so these are the 2 acupressure points for gastrointestinal problems that you can practice on yourself. Okay, next we're going to talk about fatigue. A very common cause. Fatigue is recently increasing in the clinics as well. Lots of people have been coming to see for chronic fatigue. And I think one of the very key reason is that contrary from working from home, right? Previously, many managers actually don't want to approve people working from home because they fear that employees will slack at home because there's no physical person in oversight. But the truth is, right, the opposite is actually more true. Remote workers usually overwork instead of underwork. And why do they do that? That's usually because, right, when the personal life and work life are both under the same roof, there is a very blurred line between work and home, and people just end up working through the day without taking proper breaks and without stopping. So many people working from home, they confess that they have very, very hard time remembering to take breaks, and they don't stop working on time. They will work through their meals, like we mentioned just now. They don't stop working on time, and they work even after the theoretical workday ends. They will continue working because there is just don't have a clear boundary anymore. And that frequently leads to overwork and exhaustion. I think this is a very common scene you can see in many homes. So what are some self-help tips that we can adhere to? The most obvious but hard to hold to will be to cultivate a very healthy habit where you imagine that you're going to the office, even if it's like it can be a room, it can be just a very fixed table, your workstation from home. You had set up a proper area where that is your office. And every morning when you wake up, change to regular clothes. Don't just continue on your pajamas. Get ready for work just like you would at the office. So you get into this good regular habit. You have a good fixed schedule. Wake up, work, your work mode is on. And then just like when you go to the office and start work, in between every 60 to 90 minutes, remember to take breaks. You can take breaks to stretch, take breaks to drink water, which is very important, and just walk around. So another good thing would be to have a lunch break away from your work area where possible. So I think this is more common when you go to a physical office because you eat out with friends, you eat out with colleagues as well. But at home, lots of people just tend to stay at where they're working at their desk, especially if you're using a dining table. You may end up just eating where you're working and continue working while you are eating, which is really not the most ideal. So even if it's just moving to another part of the table, right, get up, get something healthy, and then move to another part of the table and eat. The most ideal would be to go out totally, take a proper lunch break. Get a lunch break away from the work area and eat properly. And at the end of the day, have a routine to end off, such as turning off the computer, changing out the work clothes. This is just as if when you're working in a physical office. When it's time to leave for work, you will do all this shutting down, getting ready to prepare to leave. Do that at home as well. Even if you have to have a fixed alarm to let you know that it's time to end work and the work day has ended. So keeping to a general schedule where you have really a start work, breaks between work, lunch break and work, just like you did in the past, right, is very, very helpful and really should be practiced even if you're working from home. So how can TCM help? If it's a very constant and chronic fatigue problem that recurs regardless of rest, this means that even despite resting, maybe some people felt like they didn't have enough sleep, but despite resting and sleeping more, this tiredness didn't go away. You still feel constantly fatigued. You're always yawning. You're always just lack of energy in general, right? You may want to consult a TCM for a suitable course of treatment. So this is typically done using herbal powders as well as acupuncture if required. Remedies. Some DIY remedies that you can use is also via using herbs that are quite commonly used typically in soups that you may find selling outside, or you may even be preparing at home already. So herbs, right, such as, this is renshan, which is ginseng, and beiti. And prepackaged soups, there are a few. I name here 十全大补, which is, I think they call it the energizing soup here. It goes by many names, but a literal translation would mean the 10 complete tonifying soup. So it has 10 herbs, and it tonifies your energy, your blood, so it's to help you boost your energy level to combat fatigue and to improve the body's immunity system. This is an example of 十全大补汤 that is cooked with meat. This is the prepackaged form of an example of what a prepackaged 十全大补汤 looks like. Most TCM shops will have it. They will have it in some form. This is just sharing a picture of what a renshan look like. So for best result, all these remedies, right, have to be complemented together with healthy lifestyle management. Of course, like we mentioned just now, healthy sleeping schedule, healthy eating schedule. I put up so this is a recipe that you all can take away. How to cook a 十全 tonic soup. I use the simplest method, which is basically to get a prepackaged 十全 soup ingredient, because most of them are actually going to be sold in this form, instead of really 去抓药, going to the person and buying all the raw herbs. That is really less rare and much more inconvenient. So you can just buy a prepackaged 十全 大补 soup ingredient, and then you add 500 gram chicken. Usually we put with bone so it tastes nicer. 500 ml of water, a little bit more if you want it to be not so thick or not so strong, the herbal taste. You can add more or less water as you like. So it's very, very simple to do. Just clean and prepare chicken like you normally would do for soup. And then you just put all the soup ingredients and the meat in a pot. You add water and you just boil it. That is it. You can follow the instructions on the back, actually, on the back of the packaging, because there may be slight variations to how much herbs they give from different companies. So they will typically advise you on how much water and how much of the meat, if you're preparing, that you want to add. But this is a good general guideline on the amount of water and the meat to use. So you just simmer over low heat for 1.5 hours, and at the end of it, right, you add salt. Some people don't want to add salt, it's fine as well. You add salt to taste if you like, and it's one tonifying chicken soup that you can take. So it's good for boosting fatigue, to remedy and combat fatigue. How often you can take it, right, depends on the person's constitution, I would say. If you're someone who has sore throat all the time, you are really feeling a bit feverish, then this soup may not be the best for you because it's tonifying. It's a little bit on the heaty side. You can take it maybe once every 2 weeks. Or don't take it if you are really running a fever though. If you are a person who's just generally scared of the cold, you feel tired very easily, you don't get sore throat so easily, right? You can take this every week, should be fine as well. Some acupressure points to combat fatigue. Okay, so these are points on the head and the eyes, because a lot of the fatigue is really spent from working, thinking, and then staring at the screen. So I'm sharing these 2 points that are more practical. The first one is 百会, it's located at the head. So it is something that may alert you and to improve the general circulation of the body as well. How you find 百会, right? Okay, fold the tips of your ear. And then you will have a tip when you fold your ear to the front, right? So this tip, you put your thumb and you extend your hand like that to the middle, like you're wearing a hairband. And right along the middle of the line, that is your 百会. If you can see this lady, she's trying to use that method. She's doing this way, but it's the same. And if you feel along the midpoint of your scalp, there is a slight dip, a very slight dip where your 百会 is. You can try to feel for it. But there are many acupoints along the center of this meridian. It's called the 督脉. So actually, if you miss it and you don't actually press the correct 百会 point, it is still beneficial to just press along the center the 2 the meridian line. You can just massage. If you find the bai hui, right, you can use finger like that or thumb, just massage. You can close your eyes, open your eyes, it doesn't matter. So you massage for 60 to 100 times as well. Okay, so you can do it when you're taking your breaks in between your work. The other acupoint is called Jing Ming Xue. It is located at the eyes. So this is quite easy to find. It's really at the inner corner of the eye. Can you see this lady here? It's at the inner corner of the eye, in between your nose bridge and the inner corner of the eye. It's just this indentation you can feel. Typically, you use, depends on which finger you like, but to be gentler, you can use the ring finger. Go to the middle, at the edge of our eyes, just like this lady is doing here. Usually you close, and then you just press inwards and do very small rotation, because it's a very small area, right? So you can just press. Rotating it will be better, but if you find it very difficult, you just press inwards. Just press and release, press and release. That will help as well. You should feel a little of achiness. So you do it when your eyes are very fatigued. Close your eyes, do it for 60 to 100 times to help with the fatigue. Okay, so these are the 2 acupressure points they can do to energize yourself a little throughout the day. Okay, the next topic we're talking about will be insomnia. And insomnia is similarly increasingly common this period of time. And the cause for that, because there is a lack of structure and boundaries on when to get up and go to sleep. Yeah, this is very true. When working from home, we all tend to end up sleeping later, wake up later, because we don't have to spend the time traveling to work. So this caused the sleep schedule to be disrupted, and many people end up sleeping much later, and there isn't a proper healthy sleep schedule. There is also more time staring at the screen all day, as we've covered earlier. So this actually makes it harder to fall asleep. Why do we stare at the screens more? Most people will be looking at news update because there's so many things going on recently. Bad news, good news. And we're also trying to stay more connected to friends, to family via social media. So a lot of time is actually spent really online these days. And unfortunately, this screen, right, looking at the screen, there's actually a blue light emission that tells our brain to stop producing the sleep hormone melatonin. So actually, looking at the screen too much inhibits our sleep from happening well. So what are some of the self-help tips that we can follow? Keep to a regular sleep work schedule. This may seem very rational, but it is very hard to adhere to. So this is a reminder that it's very important to keep to a regular sleep work schedule. Try to wake up at the same time every day, and ideally, right, really early morning. Don't wake up in the afternoon and then sleep really late at night. Try to get about 15 to 30 minutes of sunlight exposure upon awakening, because a gentle sunlight. So when you say sunlight exposure, I don't mean like 12 noon sun, 1 p.m. sun. The best sunlight to get, right, will be about 7 a.m. I would say. Yeah, a very gentle morning sun, because it's good for vitamin D, but not too harsh. And from a TCM perspective, yang qi is good for our immunity in general. So you want to get some sun for yourself. Regular daily exercises such as a walk can also promote sleep. So walk, stretching, yoga, all these are good for as a regular exercise. And this is another thing to try to follow before sleep. For around 2 hours before sleep, try to turn off all the cell phone, tablet, and laptop, because just like we shared earlier, the screen, the blue light emission from the screen may disrupt the sleep. So doing this, turning it off 2 hours before sleep, will help our body to transition better into a sleep mode. TCM. From TCM perspective, how we can help with people having insomnia. This I would recommend in consulting a physician, right? If you have insomnia chronically, have been unable to fall asleep easily, or you wake up multiple times throughout the night, or you feel like even after sleeping, when you wake up, you're still very exhausted. So all these are signs of bad sleep, insomnia. So you can consult with a TCM physician for that. Typically, we'll use herbal powder treatment as well as acupuncture if required. So some DIY remedies. Sharing some herbs that usually used to promote good sleep by helping to calm the mind. So these are the herbs are 酸枣仁. 酸枣仁 is called sour jujube seed. There's 百合, which is lily bulb. 莲子, which is lotus seed. 茯神 I didn't share here. It's called porree. It is a herb that's sometimes used in soup, prepackaged soup. And 大枣 should be familiar with most people. This the red date. So all these herbs have a general function of helping to calm the mind and promote good sleep. So this is a good porridge. The lily bulb, lotus seed, and red dates porridge that you can take to help calm your mind and sleep better. I'll be sharing the recipe. Yeah, so if we cook and eat these dishes, it's called 食疗 in a sense. So it's like food therapy, I would say. It is not very strong, but it is good if you build it into your eating lifestyle. If you have a problem with insomnia, it won't be anything like a medication that knocks you out. But it is beneficial to take some of this. So this is the recipe for the lily bulb, lotus seed, and red date porridge. You have these ingredients. You can take a screenshot if you like. Lily bulb, lotus seeds, red dates. So these are all the ingredients. So this from recipe, right, calls for glutinous rice with a mix of normal rice. But you can switch it solely to normal rice. No problem with that. Then all these are optional for added taste. So you soak all these lily bulbs and then let it drip dry. Soaking all these ingredients beforehand is to soften it, so you'll cook faster and better. And then you prepare lotus seed. Preparing it is basically actually soaking it as well and washing it a little, washing the rice. And then you put them all in the pot. Add desired level of water. I just put desired level of water, but all this, it will be about 1.5 liters, more or less depending on how thick you want it to be, your porridge. And then you stir it all when it's hot. And at the end, you add sugar if you like you want it to be like a dessert. And goji berries for visual and also a little bit of added sweet and sourness. How often to take this? You can take it weekly. This porridge is just very mild in general, so no problem with anyone taking it. Okay, another tea, right? 酸枣仁茶, this sour jujube tea that is good for insomnia. So 酸枣仁, this sour jujube, is commonly used to promote good sleep as well. You can take about 10 pieces of it, just to give you a look again at what it looks like. Here, little seeds. You can take about 10 pieces of it, and you add this other herb called mai tong. If you are going to buy these herbs, you can buy them at herb TCM shops that sell herbs. If you're planning to do so, you can add. Mai tong is a little bit mild sweetness. So add this, add water, hot water, because basically what you're going to do is just like brewing a tea like that. Just put the ingredients, add boiling water, and steep it in a cup. If you want, you can add sugar or honey to make it sweeter. And then you can drink it a few times a week. But one thing to caution for this one, 枣仁茶, because it's sour, so people who have gastric problems, they have gastric reflux, they have gastritis, I would recommend they not take it because it may aggravate the situation. If you have no problem with any sort of gastritis, gastric reflux, it's fine. Okay, so some acupressure points for insomnia. There are 2 points here. One is 安眠穴. 安眠穴 is located, how to describe this, along the neck. So right at the beginning, I don't remember, I talked about 风池, which is here, where the pointer is. At the edge, the hair edge, where there's a groove and indentation. So 安眠, right, is in between 风池 and the back of your, the ear, the groove in your ear. So at the back of our ear, there is a hole. I'm sure if you put your finger at the back of your ear, you'll feel it. You basically can press inside. There is like a groove, right? So in between this groove and feng shui, which is located at the edge of your hairline, at the midpoint is anmian. So it's, I would say, located along the, you feel like you're pressing on a muscle along the neck. It may feel a little bit achy as well. So you can massage it either pressing like that with your finger, or like this lady here, use your thumb. Similarly, 60 to 100 times you can press it. Okay, so this is 安眠穴. 安眠 literally stands for calm sleep, the acupoint for calm sleep. Okay, so then the next point is on the hand. It's called 神门穴, 神门 acupoint. So it is along the small finger, along the side of the small finger, palms up, along the side of the small finger. It's located along the wrist, the line where the wrist line. And there is a small tendon, you can feel it. If you look at our wrist, there is a small, if you feel along our wrist, you will feel like this tendon here, the outside of it. You massage this point. You can use your thumb. You massage it 60 to 100 times as well. So this stimulating this point is supposed to generally calm your heart rate as well. Calm your heart rate and promote good sleep. Okay, so we come to anxiety. So anxiety is something that is increasingly happening because of this times as well. During the pandemic, due to the fear and worry about your own health and the health of your family. Also, financial insecurity is a common cause of anxiety this period of time. So what can we do on our end to deal with anxiety? We can practice focused deep breathing. We try breathing in for 4 counts, breathing out for 4 counts, and do it for 5 minutes in total. So deep breathing to help calm our heart rate and to calm our mind. So by evening out our breath, right, usually this will calm us down. Other methods we can do is we can go for a walk. Do some yoga. And sometimes the best way to stop any anxious thoughts, right, is to just walk away from the situation. So walk away from the house if it's helping you. Take a walk in the park, take a stroll in the neighborhood. So take this time, right, to focus on the body, on the movement, on the walking, on the breathing, and not on your mind and on whatever that is troubling you at the moment. So focusing on body itself, right, is very helpful for calming yourself down. Okay, so in case it gets too much, right, there is also this 24-hour national care hotline that you can call to speak with trained counselors. So really seeking professional help is also an option to help you process your feelings and guide you through some practical and healthy coping techniques. On TCM side, what can we do? So anxiety manifests in many ways, and it actually causes a lot of chronic problems such as people have migraines, gastrointestinal problem like we talked about just now, insomnia. So you may already have this problem previously that comes from time to time, that happens from time to time. But with anxiety, these problems can get worse. So when we say worse, it could be in terms of frequency, so it happens more frequently, or in terms of intensity, your headaches worse, you have worse stomach pain, or your insomnia has now progressed to continuous days unable to fall asleep. So when this happens, you can consult with a TCM physician for a diagnosis and to seek out a best course of treatment. So this is also similarly done via acupuncture or herbal medication. So some remedies, some herbs I'm sharing that are typically used to help with anxiety. So these two are very common. 菊花, I'm sure you've heard of it. Chrysanthemum. 玫瑰花, which is rose. And 佛手, which is literally translated as Buddha's hand. It's a kind of fingered citron. So these are three common herbs, right, that will help to calm the liver system. In TCM, the liver system doesn't mean the real liver. It is a whole diagnosis system we use, and it's associated a lot with our mood as well. Stress, anxiety, all this will lead to the liver system being stressed. So this fruit, these herbs, help to calm the liver and help to alleviate anxiety. So how you can use them at home will be by drinking a tea made using these herbs to help in calming the mind. So I'll share. Okay, so the two most common and easily accessible one will be actually 菊花茶, chrysanthemum and goji berry tea, and also 玫瑰花茶, rose tea. You can buy the loose herbs in most of the Chinese herbal shops. You can get. So both, right, calms the liver system in general. So it calms the mind. You can steep them in water and take them as like normal tea. Don't need to add any sugar and things like that. You can if you like, but you can just drink them as it is throughout the day, or in a few cups throughout the day. 2, 3. And for acupressure points, there's two that I'm sharing. One is 太阳穴 and one is 劳宫穴. So 太阳 acupoint and 劳宫 acupoint. When you're feeling, especially if you're feeling very stressed at the moment and you feel like you're just very tensed, these 2 points are good for stimulating, to help calm you down a little bit. One of them is 太阳. So 太阳is, I think most of you will have known about this. It's quite a common share. It's located at the temples, basically. It's quite easy to find. It's basically at a groove. If you feel along in between your eye and your eyebrow, in between it, right, you just go to the side and there is just a groove there, and that is the 太阳穴. The lady is pressing a little bit higher above than is normal, so don't follow her so much. But what I wanted to show you is that you can use your fingers like her to press at the acupoint. So it's really around here. Between the end of your eyebrow and the bone. So you press, you massage it for about 60 to 100 times. You should feel a bit achy as well, like many acupoints. You can close your eyes when you're doing it. Okay, then the last one is 劳宫穴. 劳宫穴is actually quite easy to find. With your hand, you close your hands into a loose fist, and then right below the tip of when you close your hand, right below the tip of your middle finger, that is where the acupoint is located. So when you close your hand, right below the finger, that is where the acupoint is. So you after you locate it, you lift it up, you use your other finger, just like this man here in the picture is doing. Typically use a thumb. Use a thumb. So I locate it for you to see. And then you massage it. If you press down, you cannot do it too lightly. You press lightly and you will feel something. Not very painful, but you can massage that point for 60 to 100 times when you're feeling very stressed. So these 2 points, do that to help you release tension. Okay, so we've come to the end of this. I will pass it back to Desmond.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Yes, thank you, Physician Raven, for sharing with us valuable information on how TCM can help alleviate conditions that arise from stress and inactivity due to working from home. So, if you have any questions, do feel free to type them down in the chat box below. Okay, for our first question today, we have one from Hey Yap Kian. He or she is asking, hi, can TCM help to reduce weight and bloated tummy? Physician Raven?
Reduction of Yeah, so reduction of bloated tummy. If you're talking about bloatedness, like flatulence, we have shared just now, right? TCM via either herbal medication or acupuncture should be able to alleviate that. But if you're talking about weight management itself, right, whether you can help for your weight to go down, it depends on a variety of factors actually. So I think you have to diagnose, you have to come in person. So you may have to look into your medical history, may look into other causes that may be causing this weight gain or this stubborn weight to not be able to go down. So it's very hard to give a standard answer overall. It should be able to help, but you need a proper diagnosis to be able to say so.
Okay. Now we have the next question from Tan Sijie. Sijie is asking, how does TCM treat carpal tunnel syndrome? I think Sijie is asking like what kind of treatments are used to alleviate this condition.
Typically acupuncture, and then also herbal medication. So the point of using acupuncture will really be targeting, when we say there's carpal tunnel from TCM point of view, right? We say that there's a blockage in the flow of the meridians and the flow of the circulation, there is blockage there. So we do acupuncture to alleviate that, and also we prescribe herbal medication internally to help with your circulation and help the recovery of this carpal tunnel. So it's a combination of both.
Okay. And then we have the next one from Doris. Doris is asking, can TCM help someone who is diabetic?
Diabetic.
Yeah.
Okay, so diabetes is a very big thing now. I would say it depends on how severe diabetes is, because there are those that are pre-diabetic, or very mild case of diabetes, where the doctor just say, oh, you just have to watch your diet and you exercise. So for this group of patients, right, they are not on medication yet, you can try to supplement with TCM treatment, such as acupuncture, or more commonly, we usually use herbal powders to help with it. So we help to maintain your blood sugar, get it down to a healthy level, together, of course, with a healthy lifestyle management, such that you don't have to go on any sort of Western medication. But if you're already on Western medication, right, and you're saying, can TCM totally replace it? I would say we are not at the point where we can just substitute TCM treatment and to stop taking the Western treatment altogether. We can help to complement if, despite using Western medication, it is still not at a good enough level. Then you can try to use TCM to augment and help improve it further.
Okay. Next one from Lynn Marie. She's asking, is there like a diet, to follow if a person is on TCM treatment? I think it depends a lot on the treatment, right, for the condition, right?
What kind of diet I'm talking
Yeah.
about?
I think
But
like to be specific, any food to avoid or stuff like that.
maybe you want to share a little bit of what kind of
Hmm.
treatment you're undergoing. I
Yeah, I
would say
think it depends on
it depends very much on
the
what your herbs
conditions, right?
are, condition are, the herbs are, to give you a better answer. But I would say, as a general rule, don't take cold water. That's a very, very, very common thing we will advise lah. That's the
Okay.
most common. But you share a little bit more about your specific condition, then we can advise you better.
Or you can also visit any of our TCM clinics for detailed diagnosis as well. Yeah. Okay. One from June. June is asking, what time did you say is best for the sunlight?
What time is it? Around 7 a.m. So it's the best time where the sun just rise, not too long. For Singapore, it is really around, I would say 7:30. From 8:30 onwards, it's much too strong already. At least for Singapore lah. So I would say 7:30 is a good time for about
Okay.
15 minutes to 30 minutes.
Okay. So another question. Can somebody take any Chinese herbal, medication if, straight after heart surgery?
What kind of heart surgery would be
Yeah,
my
and
question now?
angioplasty.
So angioplasty.
Yeah.
It depends a lot on the individual, and also, right, it depends on what other medication you're currently taking. So typically after a surgery, like right after a surgery, you will have quite a lot of medication, Western medication already. So at that point, you can possibly consult the doctor just to check your general condition. But depending on what you're taking and your condition at that point, right, we may not advise you to begin treatment right away. But if you're talking about more chronic condition, that means in the past you have done angioplasty, right? And whether you can still take, let's say 1 year ago, 2 year ago, but you want to take Chinese medicine still, uh, typically you can, but it's also depending on individual and your condition. So a proper consultation with a TCM physician would be advised.
Mm. Okay. Yeah, I don't think there's any more questions. If you guys have any more questions, you can also type it down. Yeah, just to add to what I've shared earlier, we will also be sharing this webinar video with those who opted into our marketing emails. So this will be sent out together with details of the special offer that I mentioned just now. So just do check your mailbox or junk mail, if it happens to go there. So other than that, I don't think we have any more questions. Yep, thank you, Physician Rayfan, for sharing with us today. Thank you. And
Thank you for joining us.
yeah, thank you guys for joining us. Have a good evening. Yep, and a good rest of the week. Yeah, bye bye,
Yeah.
everyone.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.